When it comes to defenses in boxing, by far the most important thing is your feet, your footwork, positioning your body in and out of range to make sure that you're in the right positions to get off your attacks and defend properly. If I could get JT, my glamorous assistant, into the ring. So when we're using our feet to get in and out of range, if you extend your jab for me. This is obviously out of range. When I'm in range, I'm past the point of impact of his punch. So we're using our feet to move backwards and forwards, in and out of range, to defend and attack. We can do this in phases, but we'll get onto that in a later part of the course. So full extend the jab. All we're going to be doing, stepping in, stepping out of range. Like so. Now, of course, if we're just going forwards and backwards, then we're not really creating any angles and we're not getting ourselves in a very advantageous position to be able to counter my opponent's shots. So what we do is we take a slight angle, we take a side step. If you think back to the footwork video, step with the right first, and now I've got an angle to attack here, here, here. Or if I want to go the other way, there, 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 so on and so forth. The reason why this works so well is because when I step off to an angle, he's right in my direction where I can land shots, whereas he can't really land punches on me because he's like over rotating, or I'm just out of the right position for him to land shots. So we've covered going in and out of range, and we've covered lateral movements, stepping to either side. But what about using the pivot to create better angles to launch an attack? Well, first of all, we can step and pivot to our right, and then we've got an even greater angle of attack, or we can step and pivot to our left. This is great when, say, you throw the backhand. I can slip, step, pivot, and then I'm in a brilliant angle to attack. Same as if you threw the jab, steps, pivot, boom, 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 etc. This is also brilliant when it comes to getting off the ropes. I can either break to my left, step, pivot, and I'm out, or I can break to my right, step, pivot, and get off the ropes that way. Of course, we've also got our generic pivot, where I'm just going, without taking the step first, I'm just going to here, or I'm just going to here, to create an angle and save me from backing up all the way to the ropes. However, when you're doing this, first take one or two steps backwards, and then take an angle, as opposed to taking an angle straight away, because I can still kind of be caught from this sort of range, like your left hook as I'm coming out, or obviously your right hook as I'm coming this way. So when we're using the pivot in the ring in terms of ring craft, take a couple steps back and then we'll pivot. This is a great way to stop you from ending up on the ropes, because a lot of particularly novice boxers, they're only moving one dimension, and that's forwards and backwards. And if I'm just moving backwards and you're attacking, eventually I'm going to end up here. I've got nowhere to go, and then I'm going to get knocked out. Well, maybe not knocked out, but right. If you fully extend your jab again, this is range. Obviously here, I'm right at the edge of range where I can still get caught with shots. But if I just take my back foot backwards one step and leave my front foot in range, then it allows me to still be able to land shots as I step back in, but takes me just out of range to avoid his shots. The same as if I'm out of range and I want to come in range, I can just take this front foot, land my shot, and then take it back out. So we don't always have to move both feet before we get our shots off. A great example in terms of combination with this is if I threw a 1-2, took a step out, he'd throw whatever sort of counter you're going to throw, and then I can come back in with my second phase, and we'll talk about that in another section of the course. Another thing we've got is creeping into range. Now, you see this particularly in the pros, but sometimes you need to disguise what you're doing with your feet, with your hands. So to get into range without I'm really noticing, I can be moving my hands like this and just slowly keeping my feet in. Another great way of doing this is just edging this front foot forward whilst maintaining how far away my head is. You can't really see me moving my feet in now, especially if I disguise it with my hand movements too, till I'm in range, and then I attack. Another great way of doing this, which breaks the fundamentals of footwork, is
To try to draw him into another left hand. Good right.
What he does is he brings his, when he comes forward, he brings his back foot in, so his feet are close together, but keeps his head in the same place, like so. And then what he can do is he can step forward and throw a backhand. And that gets me in range, like straight away as I'm throwing the backhand, so I don't have to take time getting my feet in, then get the shot off. I can just bring this back foot in and then like so.